Thank you. So this is our first panel of the day, talking about mindset. And what is the mindset of somebody who can really stand in that truth, be seen, and do the things that get you to be a highly paid authority? So as we were uncovering earlier, mindset is such a big part of this puzzle. Mindset is, it's like the fuel behind our decisions, behind our actions, behind like what it takes to really soar. And I thought we'd take us a second for our panel just to do a quick intro. And as you're listening in, we have a couple options. You can you can like just take it all in and take notes. If you've got a question that pops up, you're welcome to add it into the chat here. But let's just do a quick round of introductions of our amazing panel here. So ladies, could you maybe just give us a 2-minute, like who you are, what your gift was in the giveaway, and what your work is in the world. So maybe a couple minutes each. So Lisa, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Thanks, Melanie, for having me. So my name is Lisa Beyer, and my gift to everybody was I gave module 1 of my course, Modern PR Secrets, which basically combines the superpowers of PR, social media, and SEO. I've been an agency owner and entrepreneur for about 20 years, so mindset is quite important. And so important that I dedicated time to getting my yoga certification, which definitely yoga is one of my secret powers when it comes to mindset. I also wrote a book called Digital Detox Secrets, which is targeting entrepreneurs and helping balance life in the digital world for both your personal life and professional life.
Thank you. And I have to say that it's impressive that you got to like get a yoga certification and all of that. So well done. Nina, how about you? I mean, sorry, Nikki. I was trying to get Nina on the panel, but Nikki is what I meant to say.
So you got me instead. So I'm Nikki.
A blessing, by my dad.
Thank you. I'm Nikki Rausch. My company is Sales Maven. Clients hire me to learn how to have more effective sales conversations so they build strong rapport and are able to move somebody through the sales process and get to the place where they exchange dollars for services. I have authored 3 books, and I have a podcast called Sales Maven, and I work with clients in a variety of different ways. I have a membership program called the Sales Maven Society. This is where people get access to training and live calls with me. I teach masterclasses. I teach a few masterclasses every year on different sales deep dive topics. And then I do some private coaching with clients. So that's me. That's what I do.
Nice. And you have a fantastic podcast series you're doing, the Mastering Excellence, I think you called it. Oh
Yep.
my God, I had so much fun. If you don't follow that podcast, I highly recommend it because Nikki does some amazing things uncovering the neurolinguistic programming that people are using to create success from the inside out. So that was really exciting. Anke, welcome all the way from Spain. Thank you for staying up late to join us. Do a quick introduction on yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's not that late. So yeah, I'm Herrmann, based in the south of Spain. My gift was the Taming the Virtual Event Tech Monster course, because I found in the process of creating my own economy that virtual events are a fantastic way to shortcut the trust building process on the way of nurturing and creating those relationships that ultimately turn into clients. And I find that quite often that sounds like a lovely idea, but when it comes to actually setting that up online, oh, where does the button go? Like, how do I get people to register, and what happens when they click on the button? That's often a mystery. So I created a course where you literally look over my shoulder and I walk you through the whole process. You can see it's not as overwhelming as it might look. I've only written 1 book so far. It's called Taming the Tech Monster, and the whole purpose is to show people that what looks like a scary monster is really just a friendly little dragon that wants to play, and that people have what it takes to figure this stuff out.
Nice.
And build their own economy.
Great. I love it. Well, I'm going to drop right in with one of the questions from one of our VIP members today. And I'm sorry, I didn't get the names connected to all of the questions. I got some of them, but somebody had asked, and I think this is such an important question because we were talking about earlier resilience, the power of a decision. And there are going to be days when we don't want to keep going. We're not getting the traction, the thing's not working. We're feeling really frustrated. So I would like to hear from each of you. How do you keep going when what you're trying to have happen isn't happening fast enough? You're not getting the traction you'd hope for. What's the inner game that helps you keep going? Nikki, how about we start with you?
So one of the things that I do specifically around if I have an offering, and I started doing this years ago, and I recommend that my clients do this too, is I set a good, better, best goal for myself. So instead of having like this all or nothing thinking, like I either hit this big number or I didn't, I have kind of that first number. The good number is like, if I could just sell X number of whatever this is, and sometimes it's just like, if I could just get through this piece of the work that I have on my to-do list, I'm going to count that as good. That's going to be my success. That's like that first level. And I don't set it so high that I'm going to be disappointed. Like I'm probably going to always hit the good. And then once I hit it, then it's just about pushing for the better. But sometimes that's all I have, right? Like that's all I've got to give today. And if I hit the good, that sometimes has to be good enough. But if I can push to the better, I'm going to do that. And then once I get over the better, then it's just about pushing to get to the best. So that's kind of my process, is this good, better, best
Love it.
theory.
I love that. Good, better, best. Okay. Lisa, how about for you?
I like to just kind of walk away, and I started doing, I used to say I would just do like yoga or meditate for 10 minutes and come back to it, or just walk away for it and just start over the next day. But lately, this has been like a magic power for me. So I discovered Qigong about 6 months ago, and then I started really actively doing it. There's a YouTube channel that you can do like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it really just changes the chi and the positive energy across your whole body. So I will do that and back like kind of like transformed. But if you're having a bad day, I think you just need to start over the next day and kind of do a reset, and things are look differently and feel differently if you just get a good night's sleep.
Love it. Yeah, an energy reset sometimes is exactly what we need, because the energy is getting stuck, focused on the problem. We were talking about this earlier, ladies, how like we get focused on the problem rather than on where we're going. So love that. Anke, what would you add to that?
Yeah, walk away and go have a walk with the dog is definitely my first thing too. What I would add is to remember that, yeah, we're going to have days like that where it's like, oh boy, what on earth am I doing? And when you look at it, it doesn't say anything about how the business is going, because just the fact that it usually shifts when we just walk away for a bit really demonstrates, well, it has nothing to do with how the business is going. So yeah, you can throw the dummy out of the pram all you want. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Tomorrow, if today is not the day. And when you look at what you're out to do is as a series of experiments. Yeah, sometimes some won't work out the way you think. And it doesn't mean that your business won't work. And it doesn't mean that you're not on the right path. And that also helps you to just keep that distance from it and not take it personally, not take a day where everything looks bleak, just to see, well, actually, you just, when you wear purple glasses, everything you look at looks purple. So you just take the glasses off and start again tomorrow.
That's it. I'm getting everybody purple glasses. That's a great one. Thanks, Anke. I'm going to add in on this one, just to kind of take this in a slightly different direction, because what I was really hearing too in this is like when you're not getting traction. So when we're not getting traction, oftentimes I think we can make up the story that what I'm doing isn't going to work. And the stories we tell ourselves have a lot of power in them, because when we tell the story over and over and over again, it starts to feel like the truth. And so I like to say, pick a better truth. Pick a truth that feels like it's going to get you what you want, instead of reinforce what you don't want. Because what we don't want is to fail at this, right? And so I believe that the stories we tell are either setting ourselves up for success, or they are reinforcing the failure or the failed attempts that keep us playing small. And so what I would say is pick a better story. And a story that you could tell is, it's time for me to figure out a better way to get there. Okay, so it's time for me to figure out a better way to get there. And so one way you can do that is, when you recognize what you're doing isn't working, is to say, okay, who can I get to help me figure out what will work better? So Nina, I'm so glad you could, sorry about the little confusion with your Zoom link, but we're so glad you're here. We'll let you pick up the tail end of this one. We just did a round of, what was it? How to keep going when we feel like we're not getting traction on something. So Nina, you want to give yourself like a one-line introduction, and would you like to take a minute to answer that question from our VIP group today?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. It's great to see you here. I'm afraid the time zones got confused in my head. I'm in England. And so that's why I'm a little bit late, but it's lovely to be here. And what I do is I work with entrepreneurs to help them to create a thriving business. And I do that by looking at the challenges. And there are some common challenges that most entrepreneurs come across in growing their business. And these include the fear of being visible, putting themselves out there, marketing their services because they fear rejection, pricing their programs and services at the appropriate level. They tend to charge too little for them and are worried about putting up their prices. Procrastination is the big challenge I work with to help my clients to start marketing and taking action consistently. Obviously, overwhelm is a big problem for many entrepreneurs as well. They just feel they're pulled in too many directions. They don't know what to focus on, and consequently end up not working effectively in their business. And lots of blocks around money as well. So I help them to clear that. And this is work I've been doing for many, many years. I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, and I absolutely love what I do. To answer your question in terms of how to keep going when you feel that you're not getting traction, this is a really big challenge, because you could put a lot of work into, maybe you're doing a launch or you're doing some marketing strategy and you feel you're just coming up against a brick wall. You're not getting any response, or you're not getting people signing up. And the way that I find it really, really helpful is just to give you a little analogy. I hope this is going to be helpful. I picture it as making a choice about which table we sit at. Do we sit at table, say table A, which is full of clutter? Can you imagine a desk which has got lots of paper on it? It's got reams of bits and pieces, and you can't even see the tabletop because there's so much confusion on that table. That is sitting down with the challenge that you have with a cluttered mind. You've got so many beliefs, limiting beliefs around, this isn't going to work, no one wants what I have, I'm never going to be financially independent, what's the point, etc. So that the junk on the table is the junk in your mind. So when you are looking at where you are right now in your business, if something isn't working, you're not seeing it with clarity. You're not seeing things as they truly are. You have a distorted view of what's going on because you're seeing it through your beliefs. And often we think, well, this is a failure. And if it's a failure, then I don't know what to do next, and I don't know how I'm going to keep going. Imagine, instead of sitting at table A with a cluttered mind, you sit at table B. Table B, there's lots of space on table B. You just have a very tidy desk with your laptop on it, maybe a notebook, a pen, perhaps your phone sitting on there, and your favorite drink. It's very organized. If you sit at table B, you sit there with a clear mind. You remove all the mind clutter and you can think clearly about what you're going to do next in terms of what action are you going to take next? Where are you going to go with this situation? And there's always this choice that we make. Often we feel that we're backed into a corner and there's no choice. There's nothing for us to do except think dark thoughts about our business. Are we going to give up? Are we going to get a job? How are we going to make this work? But when you sit at table B with a clear mind, first of all, you can accept the situation for what it is. And that's not to say, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about it. When I say accept the situation for what it is, all you're doing is accepting things as they are in that moment, instead of fighting them and wishing they were different. If you're fighting the results you're getting, you're using up an awful lot of very, very valuable mind energy and thinking and feeling, which isn't moving you forward. So if you accept it as it is, for example, you may have had a marketing strategy and you didn't get as many clients as you wanted. You could just say, okay, this is the situation as it is, I accept it. And when you accept it, you may feel more relaxed and the fight goes out of you. And then after you've accepted the situation, you can move on to the next A, which is action. What action are you going to take, having accepted the situation as it is? And then once you can start thinking clearly about the action you're going to take, then you're sitting there at that clear table B, which is where you will make your best decisions.
Love it. Nina, that's profound. I feel like we could do a whole mindset class. So valuable. Thank you. Oh, we have so many questions that I want to get through. So I'm sorry if I end up cutting anybody off. I just want to make sure we can get through some great questions here, because I feel like mindset is such a powerful piece of us being able to be the people that can pull off these goals. Thank you. That was really extraordinary. So I'm going to let whoever wants to answer this one. The question was, what is the best way to work through a mindset block about creating big goals when you think they're unattainable? When you think a goal is unattainable and you want to set this big goal, how do you work through? I'm going to presuppose they mean the fear or the lack of clarity. So who feels inspired? Just let me know on the panel, raise your hand if you want to answer this one so I know how much time we have. Okay, Nikki and Nina. Okay. And then Lisa and Anke will get you. Oh, Anke, you want to jump in? Okay, good. Whoever feels inspired. Nikki, let's start with you and then we'll go to Nina.
Okay, I'll try to make this succinct. So this comes from my background in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Oftentimes when we're struggling with something, we fall into one of three categories: helpless, hopeless, worthless. So when you really take a step back and ask yourself, like, what am I feeling right now that's keeping me feeling stuck from making this big goal? Do I feel helpless? Well, if you feel helpless, that means you need to seek help. That means you need to look for somebody who has done this, who can lay out the path for you. So seek help. If you feel hopeless, like that, it can happen for other people, but it can't happen for me. That usually is, there is some kind of thing that you got to work on here around, well, can you look at other areas of your life where you might have originally thought that happens for other people, but good things like that don't happen to me? Find examples in your life where that has happened so you can start to reframe in your mind, like, okay, so it's been possible before, it could probably be possible again. And then the worthless thing, that's a big one. I think a lot of times for many of us, like, I'm not worth it. That, I think requires some deeper dive into establishing what is your self-worth. And when, again, maybe look for examples in your life when you have invested or in yourself, or when you have really put forth effort and seen results, like that you were worth it. And also seek other people in your life who will raise you up, who will boost you, who will encourage you and challenge you and cheer you on. That's my answer.
Thank you. That's lovely. Nina?
I love that, Nikki. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I would, I don't know what more I can add to that. When you feel that your goal is unattainable, it's because you're making up a big dramatic story in your head. And you may think, well, I'm basing it on fact, because before when I tried something or something very similar, it didn't work. And the time before it didn't work as well. So I have a pattern of not being able to make this work. But that is a very big dramatic story. And this story isn't serving you. Anything you've done in the past, which you can say, well, it's similar to what I'm doing now, is actually not true at all. Because whatever you tried in the past was a unique situation at that point. And anything that you want to do from this moment onwards is a unique situation again. So I would say, don't base any decisions that you make or any negative thoughts or any negative feelings on anything that's happened in the past, because the context is always different. You're different. You've changed since that last attempt. You've got a different audience, probably a different service. You've got access to more resources. So just think of it as like going into a lab and doing an experiment. You're experimenting to see what works and what doesn't work. And whatever you do, you're going to get results. They may not be the results that you want, but you're getting results all the time. So just, I find it really, really helpful to think I'm in a lab, I'm doing experiments, and I'm learning all the time. And you're never at a brick wall, even though you may think you are constantly moving forward.
I love it. Thank you, Nina. Anke, did you want to share something as well?
Yes, no, totally. Yeah, thank you, Nina. I totally resonate. For me, it's always a series of experiments. What jumped to mind when I heard the question was to think about, like, is it even your goal? Like, what is, like, whose goal is it? Is it inspiring, or is it, where does the big goal come from? Is it one that comes from an inspiration, something you really want, or is it something that you think you should be aiming for? Because then a lot of, and sometimes the jump's just a little bit big, and you have to just find what works for you. Say, I love to set like greyhound goals. Like my dad took me to a greyhound race when I was little, and you could really see it would took a while for that race really to happen, because if the rabbit's too fast, the greyhounds give up. They go, oh, well, I'm never going to make that, and they won't run. If it's too close, they pounce on it and it's boring. So it's just, the rabbit needs to be just at the right pace, that it's inspiring enough for you to go and to stretch yourself, but not so out of reach that you lose motivation. So what if you could set yourself a few greyhound goals on the path to your bigger goal and just break it up?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I'll just chime in before we move to the next question. One of the things I learned in my NLP training that served me really well is if you have a really, really big goal, you will not know how to accomplish it. And there's power in big goals, because big goals, I call them bold goals, cause you to become a version of yourself you've never been before. And that's the version of you that's going to achieve the goal, because you can't achieve a bold goal the way you've achieved every other goal. And to use that and to tap into resources and support systems. I don't remember who said that, but I think Nikki was saying this, that you've not used before, to become the person and to learn the how to get there. So it's very powerful to set bold goals, because those are the ones that actually cause us to grow. All right. I'm excited about this next question. And Lisa, if you feel inspired by it, since you didn't go last time, I want to start with you. It's popular to say, feel the fear and do it anyway. But should I just do it anyway, or work through my fear first? You want to take that one?
Yeah, I can take that one. I feel like it's a blend, that it's not realistic to never feel fear. And I don't think fear should be paralyzing, and fear could turn into, failures that you're going to learn from. So if you let fear paralyze you, you're not going to grow and fail and learn from it. So I don't think you should be paralyzed by fear, but that's easier said than done. And again, I just go back to the whole, mindset and energy and chi. And that is definitely a way to work through fears. And you can, change your mindset and change your fear in a matter of 5 minutes. But if you're paralyzed and don't move, then you aren't going to accomplish anything.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else want to chime in on that one? Feel the fear and do it anyway, or work through the fear, then do it? I'll chime in on this one. So I'll take a slightly different direction. I find that most fear often comes in the form of, I need to get this right. And if I don't get it right, something bad might happen. This is my famous one. So I'll just fully own that one of my great limits in the world has been the fear of having to get it right, because it's part of my, I study Enneagram profiles, and my Enneagram is one that is wired to get it right out of my childhood wound, which where most of our fears and limits and conflicts come from, right? And so I find that if I can take that story of I have to get it right off and tune more into what do I need to learn, or what would progress feel like today? If I move towards it rather than feeling like I have to get this right or something bad's going to happen, it's like, okay, well, what would I just do today to move it forward? It changes the energy around the goal or the action to take, and reduces that friction of, if I don't get it right, something bad's going to happen. So that's the way I would take it. All right. Anyone else want to chime in before I move to the next mindset question? All good. Okay. So I'm trying to decide. There's so many good ones. Oh, here we go. How do I overcome all or nothing thinking? Okay, who wants to take that one? All or nothing thinking. Nikki.
Okay, because we're really focusing on the mindset stuff, so I'm going to really pull from my NLP background. So in NLP, this all or nothing thinking is what's known as digital thinking. It's like a light switch. You walk into a room, you can either turn the light on or you can turn it off, and there's no in between. You can't have it kind of on. It's just on or off. That's digital thinking, and that is where we get stuck. That's that all or nothing. And instead, what you really want to strive for is like the dimmer switch. If you've got lights in your house that you can turn up the brightness. And instead of measuring success as either all or nothing, you start to look for that incremental change, that incremental difference. So, how you click it up one, it gets a little brighter, and how you click it up one more, it gets a little brighter, and you keep clicking. And so, but you have to be tracking your progress from like here to here, not from here to here, right to the bottom. So that's what's known as analog thinking, and really breaking things down and recognizing and appreciating any type of movement will help get you out of this. Like, it has to be all or nothing, because there's not a lot of things. Like when you think of all or nothing, it's like love, hate, yes, no, black, white. It's so polarizing, and there's just no flexibility in it. My all-time favorite quote is, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape."
Ooh.
And so learning how to add flexibility to your behavior, recognize those little changes, those little increments, and really celebrating the successes along the way.
I have one thing to add. That's awesome.
Lisa, yeah.
Yeah, so a couple things. So, the whole mindset of, instead of writing your to-do list, writing what you did do list will give you that confidence that you are accomplishing things. And this other thing, my daughter has ADHD, and her guidance counselor just gave her this advice about studying for finals. And I think this could apply to anybody. It's like this daunting, I have to study for this big final or this big whatever, and it's all or nothing. And she said, look, just say, I'm just going to do this for 10 minutes and see how long that 10 minutes will actually last. But even doing something for 10 minutes towards that all is going to make you feel accomplished, versus trying to do it all or nothing right away.
Thank you, Lisa.
Mhm.
I'd like to do a round of what was the biggest fear or limiting belief you on the panel had? And what did you do to shift it so you could get into success in business? Because we all have personal ones, right? We all have ones that were like, they were really stuck point. And I think one of the most inspiring things is to hear the experts were once there too, right? And we had to shift out of something. And so I'll go first just to put myself in the vulnerability chair first. I've had several, I shared one earlier, but one of the big ones for me was picking myself up after a extraordinary epic failure. I had so much shame about it. I had so much, I really beat myself up about it. And I had been about 9 years in business, and I literally just had an epic meltdown failure in my business. And I almost lost my business completely. And so the mindset of, I don't know what I'm doing, was just all over my head. And being an expert, you're like, okay, that's not a good place to come from. And so I literally had to rewire failure as failed attempt to learn from. And that was one of the big, because my greatest fear was not getting it right. And I didn't get it right. And I had to face that and recover from that and rebuild from that. And so, a lot of times clients come to me having been through bankruptcy or having had an epic failure or a business that didn't work or something that's not working in their business right now. And I'm always like, look, I've failed at everything. So there's nothing you can fail at that I haven't. So let's just make failure normalized as part of the journey. So that's one of mine. Anybody want to go next from the panel? Yeah, Nina, please.
I grew up with an older sister who's a narcissist. And if any of you have ever been near anyone who's a narcissist, you may notice this pattern that her greatest pleasure was to make me feel as if, I was nothing, because it made her feel better and look better. So I grew up with zero confidence and always hiding in the background. And my biggest fear was that there was something fundamentally wrong with me. And I remember thinking, I'm missing something that other people have that makes them normal and makes me so, unworthy and as if there's something wrong with me. And the way I got past this was purely by chance. Someone sent me an email link, and I connected with this guy. The first thing he said to me was, the only reason you feel like this about yourself is because you believe your limiting beliefs. And I thought, I've heard this stuff before, but anyway, let's see what happens. I was just trying everything at that point. And soon enough, after working with him to dissolve my limiting beliefs, which were all self-esteem beliefs, I'm not good enough, there's something wrong with me, I'm unlovable, I'm not wanted, you name them, I had them 10 out of 10. And the first realization I had of something has shifted was I decided to make a video about my business. And before, I would never have gone anywhere near a camera because I was always the person who was hiding at the back of the room. Because I also had another belief, it's dangerous to be noticed. I'll get in trouble if I'm noticed, because all my sisters noticed me, something bad would happen. And I made this video without anything stopping me. There was no pulling back from it. And I thought, this is interesting. Something has fundamentally changed for me. And now I work with clients who have all of these beliefs and more, which stop them from having all the success that they want. And I know that all of these beliefs I had are absolute lies about me. And it's the same for every single one of us who carry limiting beliefs. They are never the truth about you.
Mm. Beautiful. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Yeah, go ahead, Nikki. And then Anke, and then Lisa.
Okay, so this, I had no idea what I would even say to this, but it was something you said, Melanie, and it reminded me when I very first started Sales Maven, I got hired to speak at this big, large national sales conference for a company. So I was their keynote speaker. And after I got done speaking, came back home, they were delaying payment to me. and kind of ghosting me a little bit. And I did all the things that I teach about how to get payment. And the director of the sales company ended up reaching out to me and basically ripping me apart. She said how unprofessional I was. She commented a bit that I wasn't dressed appropriately. She called into question my integrity because there was a technical issue that they blamed on me. And she just like really ripped me apart. And they used that as their reason for not wanting to pay me the fee that we had agreed to. And I was devastated. Like, I had been presenting, in my career, like I never had anybody call me unprofessional. And I was really ashamed about the thing about my outfit because I grew up very, very poor. And I had reached a level of success in my corporate world where I could afford pretty much to buy almost anything I wanted. So I always tried to have nice clothes because I was really sensitive about it. So anyway, how I really overcame this was, and I was devastated, like really wanted to go to bed. I did go to bed, pulled the head, like covers over my head and cried for days about this. I was so devastated. And my initial knee-jerk reaction was I essentially halved my fee and asked them to just pay half of what we agreed to. Now, with some perspective, what I ended up doing was I took a step back, and at some point I started to break down each one of her criticisms. And I had to ask myself, one, is this true? And in some cases, there were pieces about it that I needed to own. There was a technical issue, but I should have shown up earlier. I should have tested my gear. So I'll do that differently next time. The idea about my outfit, okay, maybe I should have elevated my outfit in a little bit. I certainly wasn't dressed unprofessionally, but maybe I needed to elevate my game that way. Now, some of the other comments that she ripped me apart, I had to really say, like, that's not true. I don't agree. And this idea of discounting my pricing based on what I still delivered. Her team, like the salespeople who are in the room, still to this day follow me on and participate at times in the things that I do because they got a lot out of it. So I shouldn't have discounted my price. I shouldn't have had that knee-jerk reaction of letting somebody tear me down and then me going like, okay, here, I'll half my price. I'll take half of what you're willing to pay me because now I'm less than in some way. So I think when you have those failures, and I still struggle with this, of being able to separate what's true and what isn't true. And sometimes being able to say to somebody, thank you for your opinion. I respectfully disagree.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I can't remember who I said was going next. I got very enraptured in that.
I can go next if there's time, but
Go
that
ahead,
was super
Lisa.
powerful. I don't even know if like I want to go next. That was great, Nikki. That's a great story to share. Just a couple limiting beliefs that I think that I have and probably share with other women too is, two things: imposter syndrome, and also the limiting belief that, because we're women, we have to kind of like undercut pricing or overcompensate to get something. And I don't have like a good solution to it other than I just try to be conscious of, yes, I am the expert in certain things and I do belong here. And I should probably get paid a little bit more or a lot more than men do because they've been getting paid more for however long, like it's just like, you're worth it, you're worthy of it. And just trying to overcome those limiting beliefs, especially right now with the post-pandemic. And I feel like women are, crushed more than ever from all of the circumstances that they've been faced with. So just kind of trying to keep myself positive with that and do what I can to help my own mindset and the mindset of others that I'm interacting with in business.
Thank you. Just out of curiosity, anyone on the panel ever had imposter syndrome strike them? Okay. So if imposter syndrome is one of those things, I know that was one of the things that somebody posted about your Anke company. Anke, let's wrap up with you.
Yeah, for me, it was a dramatic fear of conflict. Like, I did not want to disappoint anybody. I didn't think saying no to things was even an option. It wasn't even that I consciously decided not to say no. I didn't even think it was an option. When I started my first business, it was a sewing business, and I thought when somebody came to me and wanted something, well, it was my job to give them what they wanted. And that's not a problem when you have one or two clients, but when it gets busy, that gets really, really exhausting.
Yeah.
And people would ask, oh, can you bring the dress up to the theater? Oh, not a problem. And my default answer was yes. And I never knew how to say no. And I burned myself out in the process. And it took years, and it took me to totally burn out to get to the point where I thought, you know what, if this is what live your dream is, I'm done. I'm over it. I just kind of go in a supermarket and do whatever. I'm sick of it. I needed that for me to get to the point to actually say no when somebody came and wanted me to take the dress, whatever. And the surprise happened when I did say, oh, sorry, can't do that. And she goes, oh, okay, well, I'll pick it up on Monday then. And I'm like, well, wait, I saw in that moment that all the pressure that I kind of suffered from for all these years, that for me had always come from my demanding clients who would always want more and faster and pressure. All of a sudden I saw, well, wait, that was all just ever in my head, because I thought if I said no, they'd be upset, and then they would come again, and then they'd tell everybody else about it, and my business that had all grown by word of mouth was going to be in the drain. So saying no meant no business. Really direct line to that, and there was no way. I couldn't even see that there was any other way that could go. And that moment was, I saw, wait, I've made this up the entire time. No does not mean unhappy customer, and yes does not mean customer. And I literally saw it in that moment. I thought, well, I can't predict what somebody will think, and I might as well say yes when I want to say yes, and say no when I want to say no. And it's been quite the game changer.
Love that. Boundaries are a beautiful thing. And the more boundaries, appropriate boundaries we establish for ourselves that protect our superpower and allow us to do the work we're meant to do while protecting our energy, it's beautiful. Thank you all. If you're on video, let's give our panel a big round of applause. Thank you so much for bringing your energy and your wisdom and your time today. Panel, before you go, would you just mind dropping into the chat how our community here, our VIP group, can get a hold of you and or like a lead magnet? The question has come up. Oh my gosh, I missed the window for the the giveaway gifts. If you have the action guide, and if you don't, maybe Lindsay, you could grab where they can download the action guide still. There's a super secret little thing to know. There are QR codes on there that will allow you to still access the gifts from the Premier Experts. So hopefully that's okay with you ladies if they still get your gift from the giveaway. But if you missed the window, that's the super secret backdoor way to still get your gifts. Great job, ladies. I love talking about mindset. It's one of my most powerful secret weapons, if you will. So thank you for joining us today. And I'll take you off the pin now. And what we are doing next, friends, is we are going to be building your revenue rush roadmap. So here's what we're doing. If you did not yet download it, Amanda, would you mind just popping that URL? I think it was melaniebenson.com/revenue rush or something like that into the chat so the VIPs can grab that. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go share my screen, and we're going to start building